one raise their arm, I was just going to get all my notes and go sit back at my seat. But I'm thankful at least one person raised their arm. So, today I'm going to share ways on how you can actually construct a speech or put a speech together in simple terms. But before I actually go into how to construct a speech, what's speech construction? Let's make it in simple terms. What's speech construction? Anyone?
Putting a structure into what you're going to say.
Spot on. Putting a structure into what you're going to say. It doesn't have to be a speech. It could be anything. So I want you to remember that. So what is this speech construction? One thing I want you to say is make sure a speech is logical and consistent. That's the reason you want to learn how to put a speech together. So what are the characteristics of when putting a speech together? First thing I want you to write down is I want you to what you're going to get is to expect, elaborate, and summarize. I want you to remember those three words: expect, elaborate, and summarize. Come, what are you talking about? Winston Churchill, the former British Prime Minister, said, tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you have told them. What he was actually saying is, whatever you're going to do, tell them what to expect, tell them what you're going to tell them, elaborate, tell them what you've told them. In simple terms, that's the conclusion. What are some of the types of speeches? Or what should a good speech entail? I'm just going to go around the audience. What are some of the types of speeches before we go into how to actually put a speech together? Anyone? Different types of speeches you can think of? Yes, Elliot.
Motivational.
Motivational, thank you. Yes, Daniel?
Preach in church.
Preaching in church, yeah, thank you. Anyone else? Educational, thank you. Rosna? Yes, Daniel?
Meeting.
So, yeah, meeting, yeah. Anyone else?
Here's one. Would a comedian be a speech? Would a comedian
110%, yeah, 110%.
Okay.
Yes, so comedian. Okay, yeah. So everything you've mentioned, so I'm going to go through this quickly, and this is actually, some of them you've mentioned will fall into certain categories. So our types of speeches would go speeches to inform. You just go up there, you just want to inform audience about something. Speeches to inspire, that would fall under what Elliot said, motivational. To educate, entertain, Jamal. So comedian, that would fall under entertainment. Do you want to give a speech to entertain? Speeches to transform. Or it could be just a speech to convince. That would fall under, maybe you would say, debate. Also, politicians, that would follow under that as well. Then, some people just want to be controversial. We see that all in the media. How do you actually put a speech together? We've all had this. A speech should have an introduction, a speech should have a body, and it should have a conclusion. So first thing is, let's go into how to actually put a speech together. So three parts, we've got an introduction, body, and conclusion. Let's start with an introduction. In fact, what we're going to do now is just hand these out. Of course, yeah. Okay, so the way we're going to do it, since this is an educational, so my aim with this speech is what? I wanted us by the time I leave here, we've come up with a mini speech. So, and I thought, what speech would you come up with all together so we are all on the same page? And I thought of something that we either have done before, or at least we know someone, or at least we've watched a video about it. So, from the introduction, let's say we're going to put a speech together on, let's make it easy, how to lose weight. So I want you in that title part, I want you to put how to lose weight. Okay, so what happens in the introduction? When putting a speech together, make sure the introduction is attention grabbing. These are characteristics of a great introduction. What am I talking about? I want to share a story. In April, when I went to speak in London, the audience I was going to speak to were in the speakers club here. You guys, I'm used to you. I didn't know those guys. They'd never seen me before. So I thought, how am I going to grab their attention? So I said, let's say maybe start with quotes. I said, yes, a quote might be strong, but I just want to grab their attention. How can I connect with them? So I just went up to something I thought of. I went and I said, who here knows me? Anyone knows me? Anyone? And one person in the audience raised their arm. So I said to them, I thought I was famous until today. And guess what that person said? I only knew because I Googled you when they gave us your name, you were coming to speak. And guess what? The whole audience laughed. And when they laughed, guess what? Straight away, I built that rapport with them because I didn't know them. They laughed. And then someone said, yes, we're going to Google you after here. So then the conversation started from there. So come up with something that attention grabbing. Ask a rhetorical question. When I came up here, I asked you who actually would like to learn how to who struggles with putting a speech together. I've done that intentionally so you guys can see how to actually come up with a great speech. Also, another part is in the introduction. You can start your speech by delivering an anecdote. When I read that in the speaker's manual, I was like, what does that mean? Does anyone know what an anecdote means? Someone explain it to us? Yes, Lisa.
A mini story about something.
Fantastic, spot on. So, anecdote is like Lisa said, a story or amusing, interesting story about a real event or a person. Come up with a story. Elliot, for example, just gave us a beautiful story with his daughter, isn't it? And guess what? We were hooked. We want to find out what did that journey actually end up. Being humorous, me starting that speech like that, I just wanted to show to them I'm just a normal person that you can actually have a conversation with. Make a shock statement. I was like, wow. Sometimes do you ever see them speakers that come up? I actually see this a lot in adverts, so salesmen. They'll say, I'm going to teach you how to make 10,000 pounds in one day. That's a shock statement to me. I'm like, 10,000 in one day? Stating unusual facts. What happens when you state something that's unusual in your introduction speech? Guess what? People are going to think either you're crazy or they're going to be drawn in. What is this guy talking about? 10,000 pounds in one day? Or delivering a story or an emphatic statement. So those are some of the ways you want to start your introduction. So back to ours. How to lose weight. Can anyone, we're thinking on our feet now, think of something attention grabbing that we can use to start our speech on how to lose weight. I want you to think about it. I'll give you about 30 seconds because we want to come up with something and think of quote, anecdote, be humorous, shock statement. Yes, Lisa?
Don't lose weight. Find what's good for you.
Fantastic. Can you write that down, please? Don't lose weight. Lisa, yes. Don't
Lose weight. Find what's good for you.
find what's good for you. Who loves that statement? Fantastic. Don't lose weight. Find out what's best for you. When I hear that statement, then I want to know then what's going to happen next. So from that, after find something that attention grabbing, then that's where you go to the body. So the body is something like people say, that's where the rubber meets the road. So in the body, this is now you're going to be explaining what your title is. What should the body include? So in the body, this is where you're going to come up with facts, figures, quotations if you want to, supporting information. You can bring in your story. When you think about the body, so how to come up with these ideas? There's so many ways. One of them is brainstorming. What's brainstorming? So brainstorming is where you come up with an idea and you list all the possible ways that you can use to support the idea. So for example, now in our case, how to lose weight. So what are some of the things that we can put in our body? The fact that Lisa gave us the introduction, Lisa, can you share us with one idea we can put in our body, please? How to lose weight.
The focus would be to find what's good for you, so what your body likes.
What your body likes. So on the left-hand side, can you write in one of the boxes what your body likes? Has anyone got any other idea how to lose weight? Yes, Rachel.
Move more.
Move more. So in the box below on your left, writing move more. Yes, yes, Philip? Fasting. Fantastic. I would like to add on to that. Actually, let's just think out loud now. What is written, let's make into 2 into 1. Fasting and intermittent fasting. Let's write that down. Okay, so those are the ideas we picked. You can do as many ideas as you want, but if you're thinking to make something simple to start with, they say pick 3 ideas. It might be 5, 7, 10, but for now, let's say pick 3 ideas. All right? Okay. Then what's now going to happen? So once you've had your ideas, now what we want is to expand on those ideas. So the first one, Lisa say, find out what works for you, right? So find out what works for you. So what then you write on the find out what works for you on the right hand side is how to explain that. Some of the things as you can go and find out how does your metabolism work. What are certain type of foods that you can that you eat that you can actually eat. So basically, you're elaborating on finding out what works. Any ideas that come to mind of what we could include under find out what works? Yes, Lisa.
Kinesiology, so you can do muscle testing for what works for you.
Fantastic. Did you guys hear that? Kinesiology. Lisa, could you explain that to us?
Could you spell that for us?
Kinesiology. You're asking dyslexic here to spell your words. You are correct.
I don't think you can come out with long
That's something to Google and to learn as well. So kinesiology.
Kinesiology, it's muscle testing.
Muscle testing. Oh.
Basically, yeah. So if you kind of hold something,
yeah,
your body already knows what's good for it and what's not good for it.
Okay.
And some things will give you strength and some things
will
will
give you effect. Thank Google it, it's actually great.
That's
a great word.
It is. If someone asks you a question, did you steal the sugar? And if you say no, and they come to test you, subconsciously, if someone pressed the arm down and you say, and you lie, your muscles are actually weak, they'll go weak. So it's a great testing tool, really amazing. Yeah, go check it out on YouTube. Okay, so what was our next topic? Our next one was move more. So move more. So on the right hand side, we're expanding on how to move more. You could come up with every day. Think about this. Instead of taking the lift at work, we should go on about maybe 4 or 5 times by the end of the day. How about you use stairs? Think of all the activities that you do where you move more. How about a 10-minute morning walk every morning? And you expand on the idea. And what was the third idea?
Where you've got fasting and...
Yes, so the third one, which obviously Philip mentioned to us, is fasting and intermittent fasting. So with that one as well, you want to explain to the audience, how does that work? So fasting comes in different ways. Do you want to go on a full day fast, a day fast, or do you want to fast certain kinds of foods? So this comes in different ways. And then you expand on that idea so that the audience can get what that means, and also maybe they can hear something they haven't done before. Intermittent fasting. You said, how about you went 15 to 16 hours without eating anything? This is actually going to help you as well lose weight. So you expand on those ideas. You can expand as much as you want. Eddie, did you have a question?
No, I had to quickly Google his name, but so I've done fasting. Just a really interesting fact. There's a guy called Angus Berberis, he's a Scottish guy. This is 60s, I think it was, and he went 382 days for the Guinness Book of Records, measured by his GP, without eating any food, and lost 200 pounds. All he had was water and black coffee. But it's a great thing. People think they're going to like keel over. Like he went for 382 days, nothing more than black coffee. And it's the only one. Wasn't ever put in the Guinness Book of Records because it's deemed too dangerous, but he was in there and he made 282 days in the UK.
Fantastic. So what Elvis, I'll have to get that name. I watch that guy. That's amazing. So you can include that. That covers facts. That's a story. You can also put. That's actually a great story, because people are thinking, hang on, if someone can go 365 days, why can't I go a day, 16 days at least without food? I personally, the most I've done is 3 days, and oh my God, I love my food. That was the longest. But do you know what's funny is, first day was hard. Second day, because I'd gone a day, I found it fine. Third day was fine, but the hardest was the last hour. Maybe because my body was like predicting that time is coming to an end. I kept looking at the clock, at the watch all the time, and I said, I wasn't even doing this on day 2, but I think because the time was approaching. So with that one as well, you expand on that third idea. Rosemary, just quickly, what time am I on at the moment? Okay. 20 minutes, okay. And then the last one is conclusion. So we've had the introduction, we've expanded on our pain points in the body, and then conclusion. So in the conclusion, it's basically the takeaway, what to do. Do you want to make the audience feel different? Summarize your speech, maybe use a powerful statement. And depending on the type of speech you're giving, if it's, let's say, a speech to maybe inspire, a speech to transform, always make sure you have what they call a CTA. Anyone knows what CTA is? Yes, Lisa.
Call to action.
Exactly what Lisa said. So have a call to action. Leave them with something to either think about or something to do. And for example, if you're holding, let's say, a workshop, give them some homework to take home or something to go with for them to actually complete. But make sure the audience leaves them with something to think about. Also, something to mention on the conclusion, some don'ts. We do this all the time for some reason. I think it's subconscious. When you give a speech, don't thank. The audience should be thanking you. Don't say, that's all I have to say. No, whatever you say is actually enough because you took the time to come up with that speech. Don't say, in conclusion, and how about this one? That just about sums it up. Those are things I want you to actually avoid. And also sometimes it's good to, don't say in conclusion. Of course, if you're speaking to kids, it's good to let them know you're coming to an end because they won't know. But for an audience that, people that are mature, if I can use that word, you don't need to tell them you're concluding. They will actually know that you are concluding. Putting a speech together, I want you to remember the three things. That you gotta have a strong introduction, attention grabbing. Then take the audience into the body, the meat and potatoes, where the rubber meets the road. But remember to leave them with a memorable conclusion. Like Keith always tells us, you're asking, how can I become better at public speaking? How can I become better at putting a speech together? The only way to become better at putting or constructing a speech is through practice. Practice. Practice.